Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome here to the seminar, Water Shortages, Floods and Infrastructure Refurbishment Market Opportunity for Bavarian Companies in South Africa. Long title, but wonderful to have you here. My name is Simone Pohl. I'm the CEO of the Southern African German Chamber of Commerce, and I would like to welcome you. As you know, we are the official representative of German business here in Southern Africa. And our chamber is a part of the AHK Worldwide Chamber Network. And it is great to do this here today. As you know, our role is to foster bilateral relationships. And we have offices here in South Africa, in Johannesburg, in Cape Town. There is a Mr. Schmidt. Hello, good afternoon. And in Durban. But we all cover 12 countries in Southern Africa. We have started after the talk. Furthermore, and this is something I think Mr. Schmidt will also talk about, we are the Bavarian Representative Office in South Africa. And that's why especially we are supporting Bavarian companies when they are entering or expanding in the market. And within this context of this representation, we will be supporting the Bavarian Ministry of Economics, Regional Development and Energy in these planned activities relating to the topic of water management in South Africa. We think this is crucial. This is very timely. It's absolutely important that we are talking about these topics as they are right and present here in South Africa. As many of you know, South Africa is experiencing a number of challenges relating to water. Natal in the Eastern and Western Cape, water restrictions here in Gauteng. This is in Johannesburg, where we have our main office. And then we are dealing with rising water prices and more frequent and longer droughts impacting the water availability. So the topic of water is honestly every day here in the news. And as I said before, that's why it's so important that we are talking with you about this today. During his term in office from 21 to 24, the previous Minister for Water and Sanitation successfully introduced measures to stabilize the water sector and ensure water and sanitation in the future. Provided that the new Minister, Femi Majugina of the new Government of National Unity, continues this course, I think the prospects are positive. However, similar, and we have experienced this with the energy crisis here in South Africa, sometimes the situation is expected to get worse before it gets better. And this is why, and this also shows that German and Bavarian technologies are needed to contribute to improve the situation. We have already a number of Bavarian companies active in the sector in South Africa. For example, we will be hearing today from two Bavarian companies that have successfully entered the South African market. It is Vision Green Solutions and PPU Umwelttechnik. And a big thank you to both of you for doing a presentation here. This is truly, truly appreciated. And these two companies have done different type of entry strategy. And I think this should be very interesting for the companies who are not yet active in the region to hear about this. And then we also have other Bavarian water technology companies, just to name a few more, Flottweg, Huber, Netz, among others, covering different types of technologies for water and wastewater treatment, solid liquid separation, and the pumping of challenging media. So this is a little bit as an entry from my side here. I was supposed to give over to Vera Massi. Vera Massi, just a quick word, is our water specialist at the German Chamber here. We have a competence center of climate and environment here in South Africa. And Vera is your point of contact to all the questions about entering or expanding into the market. She's our moderator and our expert, and you might have seen her also at IFAD in Munich a few months ago, where she was on quite some panels. Again, thank you to the Bavarian Ministry of Economic Affairs, and I will hand now the word and the mic over to Georg Schmidt for also some introductory notes. And thank you again, Mr. Schmidt, for the great cooperation that the ministry and we here at the Chamber have. And thanks that we can do these type of events. It is truly appreciated.
Well, thank you very much, Simone, and a big excuse from my side for the technical glitches. It seems that our security system in the ministry is so subtle that it's kind of difficult to jump in. So I'm using my private facilities now in order to participate in the meeting. Okay. But be it so. Well, thank you very much for the brief introduction. Well, what is there for me to add? Basically, I'm first of all, I'm the deputy head of the Foreign Economic Relations department in Bavaria's Ministry for Economic Affairs. We have lately revamped our Africa strategy. We've quite recently we opened an office in Eastern Africa, in Kenya, and we think that this is really an era of opportunities. Honestly, we haven't done so well in sub-Saharan Africa so far. Less than 1% of our exports go to that market, and out of that 1%, 3/4 are actually geared towards South Africa. The rest goes to the remaining quarter goes to other countries in sub-Saharan Africa. So we've been asking ourselves what kind of sectors to push actually, and we feel that environmental technology, and particularly the water and wastewater sector, is a very promising sector because we have a lot to offer on our side, and at the same time there's a lot of demand in South Africa and in sub-Saharan Africa altogether. As you mentioned, Simone, Bavaria has it's pretty well positioned already in South Africa, with you as our representative, of course. You wearing two hats, and the white and blue hat is particularly important, of course, for us. But at the same time, there are a number of very successful companies in the market and also in the water market. And that's why we feel that we could use South Africa as an entry market, as a springboard into other markets as well. So we have decided actually to very much focus on that environmental technology sector in all of sub-Saharan Africa, and in particular now in South Africa. And that is why we've together with you guys put together this series of webinars. It starts today. Today is the kickoff meeting, of course, which is mainly geared towards our Bavarian constituencies. And then we are planning to have another, our second webinar on the 27th of November, which will focus on public water supply and wastewater treatment. And that will be organized as an expert discussion between South African and Bavarian experts. The third webinar will be on the 19th of February on the private water sector. And then the final one, probably on the 26th of March, on the management and treatment of mine-impacted water. And then this series will culminate in a way in IFAD Africa, which is the world's leading environmental fair, which has an offspring in Africa. It had a very successful. It takes place every 2 years, but we'll hear more about it, of course, later on. And we thought that we should put IFAD Africa into our Bavarian and the National Fair program. What we can promise you is it'll take place in the second week of July. And what we can promise you is that for every Bavarian company that will participate in the IFAD Africa, either as a member of the Fair program or on its own, there will be an add-on provided by the Bavarian government. So that's basically it's our 4-step approach. There'll be 3 more seminars basically, and then the IFAD will be the final stage, and we are very much looking forward to it. And that's all for me now. Without much ado, I will just like to pass on to, is it Katharina or is it Vera? I think, who comes next, Charlotte?
It is Katharina Schlegel, yes.
Okay, then please.
Okay, I also wasn't too sure. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much also from my side, Mr. Schmidt, Vera, Simone, Charlotte, first of all for inviting me and also for the nice introduction. Maybe just a quick update from my side. My name is Katharina Schlegel and I'm responsible for the global IFAD network. And yeah, I'm in particular happy to represent and to present both IFAD Africa here to this audience. And I'm really, really happy that we can sort of intensify the good cooperation with the German Chamber, but also with the Ministry of Economic Affairs here. A special thanks to Charlotte and Mr. Schmidt, and also to Ms. Pohl and Vera. We have been have strong relationships so far, but let's say the Bavarian involvement for the last few years was a bit slower, apart from the one from the environmental ministry here, Mr. Worst, I've seen, then from Beifor and Bernhard, so it's really good, and that's why I'm very, very happy that we kind of now really can join forces and make something bigger for Southern Africa with the help also from IFAD. Yeah, let me give you a quick update on IFAD. As Mr. Schmidt already mentioned, the IFAD network is the world's leading platform or network for environmental technology, with the, let's say, mother show in Munich, which took just place recently in May. And we have various spin-offs in Africa, in Turkey, India, China, Brazil, Singapore, and of course also in IFAD Africa. Charlotte, can you just maybe pass on the next? Yeah. The IFAD portfolio or the product categories are based on 3 pillars. It's on the one side the water management and the wastewater management. On the other side, the waste management and the recycling part, and then sort of so as a kind of a let's say framework around it, sort of the big topic of circular economy. And this is a kind of a structure, and those 3 pillars are valid for all IFADs worldwide, but it's been IFAD in Munich or in Brazil or wherever. Of course, with, let's say, adjustments based on the regional requirements and the regional needs. So, for example, in South Africa, the focus definitely is on water and waste management and water management, as also the government has a strong focus on there. And as I already mentioned in the beginning, we are worldwide active. Charlotte, maybe you can go on with the next. Thank you. As I just mentioned, we are, oh, it's Vera, okay, sorry. As I said, we are sort of active in Brazil, India, Turkey, Singapore, and in particular in IFAD Africa. We have started in South Africa in 2015 with a small conference and a small, let's say, accompanying trade show. And we were at that time quite surprised, or positively surprised, that the demand was so high, so that we then decided in 2017 to start a real IFAD Africa and have a stand-alone exhibition, which continued then in 2019. And then we decided to co-locate the IFAD Africa with our second show we are launching in Africa, which is the Analytica Lab Africa. So with this, we can really show and mirror the complete value chain much better, and we can have a lot of synergies from the exhibitor and also from the visitor side. So in 2019, it was sort of a really, really good exhibition, a very good co-location. And then, of course, everyone knows COVID unfortunately came, so we had to make a pause. But then we were lucky enough to restart and to reactivate IFAD Africa and Analytica Lab Africa last year in 2023. And we were in particular happy to really, again, cooperate with the German Chamber and cooperate with the Bavarian government. So we had a small Bavarian presence there, and as this was very successful, so we said we will now sort of focus on that. Can you just maybe go on with the next slide? Would be lovely. Yeah. IFAD Africa, we say it's sort of the show for the Southern African economy. So what we would like to focus is not only on South Africa itself, but we also try to cover the neighboring countries like Namibia, Botswana, Angola, etc., and to really provide the companies a gateway into the sub-Saharan market. So that means we try to have a special focus on the SADC regions. What we also realized that there's a high interest and demand from not only associations and ministry from South Africa, but also from the southern part of Africa. And as I already said, we had quite a nice comeback, I would say, last year. So we could welcome around 125 exhibitors from around 17 countries and with 4,500 visitors only for IFAD. But we had around 4,000 plus visitors in addition from the Analytica and Lab show, which was co-located. And as Mr. Schmidt already said, the next event will take place from July 8 to 10 and 25 in the Gallagher Convention Center, which is very nicely located, easy to reach. As I already mentioned, we have two shows. It's on the one hand, the IFAD Africa and the Analytica Lab Africa, and therefore sort of we can really draw synergies from the cross-industry exposure. And the exhibition sectors of IFAD Africa, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's particular water extraction and treatment, water and sewage treatment, water distribution and sewers, and also, of course, refuse disposal and recycling machines, generating energy from waste materials, a topic coming up quite nicely in South Africa. Decontamination of old site soil treatment. Here we are having a focus on the mining, on the mines, and also, of course, air pollution control and noise reduction. So we cover the whole product categories, what we also have at IFAD Munich. Yeah, and then, as we already said, we will having a German pavilion next year, amongst other pavilions like from Austria, Switzerland, and within the German pavilion, we will then also have, of course, the Bavarian participation, where we are in particular happy about. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me and or to my team.
Thank you so much, Katharina Schlegel. I think I'm just going to swiftly take over from here.
Perfect, thanks.
Thank you so much. Maybe we should encourage you, perhaps, Katharina, I'm not sure if you have to run off, but maybe we can encourage people to just write some comments in the Q&A section. With this, maybe also should quickly cover some house rules. Please note that this meeting is being recorded, and if you don't agree on being recorded, then you unfortunately have to leave because we would like to record it. And also, you can use the Q&A function to write your comments, your questions, and we will check that regularly. And see if maybe we can answer these questions like that. We are quite a small round, so if you would desperately like to speak as well, I can unmute you as far as I understand, and you can also ask your question. But if possible, if you can write it also to save time. I would like to apologize that I don't have a camera. Unfortunately, my computer is not functioning, and all my efforts to try and fix this problem has not borne any fruit, so my apologies. But I think my presentation is probably in the middle anyways. So yeah, thank you very much for your understanding. Thank you, Katharina. Perhaps Charlotte, if you don't mind, just keeping an eye on the Q&A box and give me a shout if there's something coming up, because I'm going to just now start my presentation so that we can move to the next segment. Right, so I will give you a very quick overview of the Southern African German Chamber of Commerce and Industry. My CEO, Simone Pohl, already gave the introductory talk, but I'd like to just give a little bit of a institutional overview. What is our role and how can we support you as German or Bavarian companies? Oh, I am Vera Matthew, and I'm the Water Portfolio Manager at the Competence Center Climate and Environment. We are part of a very large German chamber worldwide network. The network is present in 93 countries and over 150 locations, and for 130 years. We have been around since 1894. If you see the abbreviations IHK, that will be the local Industrie- und Handelskammer, the local German chambers, and then the AHK means the Auslandshandelskammer, which means the chambers abroad. As the SAGCC, which is our abbreviation in the English language, we are represented in 12 countries, as you can see on the map. We work very closely together with the Global Business Network in Namibia and also with the other AHKs in Angola, Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, and Tanzania. We have 3 offices currently. In Johannesburg is the head office, where also Ms. Simone Pohl is, and in Cape Town, that's where I am. It's a smaller office, and then in Durban, we also have a smaller office. We also have representatives in Zimbabwe, Zambia, Mozambique, and finally also in Germany. We are the representation of German business and foreign trade promotion on behalf of the federal government, and we represent German companies' interests. We help in market development. We support companies individually or as well as part of programs for which I will give a little bit more information in the coming slide. We are responsible for the Southern African Development Community, which fits very well with the goals of what Katharina Schlegel just mentioned with regards to where IFAD Africa is also going. We are one institution and have 3 functions, which sets us aside from other countries and how other countries represent their economies in foreign countries. So we have we are the official representative of the German economy abroad. We are also a membership organization, and we also provide services for companies, private services, so to speak. We are not only regionally organized, but we also have competence centers that cover key sectors and topics. As mentioned, I'm part of the Climate and Environment Competence Center. As a water portfolio, I have been doing so since 4.5 years and have built a considerable network. Jens Hauser leads the renewable energy portfolio as well as the Competence Center, and also has been building his network over a very long time now. The circular economy expert, Mr. Rishal Dharmapal, is currently the person that deals with including waste to energy, but also wastewater. There is a little bit of overlap with all our 3 portfolios within the Competence Center Climate and Environment. We also have other competence centers, as you can see there: mining, industry and trade fair, training, food and agriculture, sourcing. Please have a look on our website if you'd like to speak to anybody that is relevant to you, because we do know that water companies are also often interested in touching sides with other sectors as they provide the technologies for those sectors. Yes, we have a couple of funding opportunities for Bavarian companies. Firstly, I think that was already mentioned earlier in the introduction, that, you know,
anyway.
Hello? Oh, sorry. Perhaps I must mute someone. Okay. All right. So we've got funding on state level from Bavaria. We are the Bavarian State Ministry of Economic Affairs. So we are the State of Bavaria South Africa office. So we support together with the Bavarian State Ministry of Economic Affairs through specific activities that we plan with the Bavarian State Ministry. And in this case, we have these water management webinar series, and we are very happy to see quite a few German companies in this webinar, and hope that you will be involved also with the other following webinars, and then perhaps also with participation at the EFAT in July 2025. We also have federal funding opportunities. One specifically is the Ministry of Economic Affairs Foreign Market Entry Program in German, BMWK Markterschließungsprogramm, where I had put South Africa into the focus in 2022 to 2024 because South Africa has such a diverse sector, but I'll get into that in a moment. And in the coming years, we would like to slightly shift our focus to the neighboring countries and deal with Botswana and potential DRC, Mauritius, and Madagascar. We also are a registered consulting service within the program that is the BAFA, Beratungsgutscheine Afrika, which are vouchers for German companies who have an interest in market entry in Africa. So when there is no delegation plan that you are interested in participating on federal or on state level, then you can approach us and get a voucher from this Beratungsgutscheine Afrika. They'll obviously have to get approved first, and then we can assist you in finding business partners, finding clients here in Southern Africa, and you can get 85% of the consulting fees back from the Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs. We also have the German Ministry of Environment, the BMUV, the EXI program. I encourage you to have a look on the website, because this is a bit of a more innovative way of assisting German environmental technologies. If you would like to establish for example, pilot plant, you are a small business and that you need assistance with in financial terms, then you can participate in this program. You can submit your project idea, and if it gets accepted, then you might get funding for such a project. We, as the German Chamber, almost always work in collaboration with the German Water Partnership. I've included a link there as well. If you are a German company with interest in entering foreign markets abroad, the German Water Partnership is an excellent, is actually the only real sort of association in Germany that specifically caters to the interests abroad for German companies in the water sector. Okay, so perhaps now we can move over to the next segment, which will also be me. And I will be giving you a brief overview of the market opportunities in the water sector in South Africa. This is sort of like an introductory presentation before we go into more the nitty-gritties on the different topics of public water supply and wastewater treatment, acid mine drainage, as well as industry in the coming months. I would like to cover the issues that we are facing currently, which are water shortages, floods, and infrastructure refurbishments plans. I'd like to just give you a quick overview of what kind of industries or how we use water in South Africa, and give you a brief overview of what is available to you in South Africa as potential partners for German companies. I'd like to start with an overview on, I find this always quite impressive because I regularly check this engineering news website for water news. And every time I open it, there are new headings that come up. You can see on here that water is a really, really important topic in South Africa. We have a very difficult situation currently in South Africa specifically, because we are trying to juggle water supply issues on several fronts. So one, of course, there's climate change that is making our droughts longer, more intense. But at the same time, we get rain in the wrong time of the year, too much rain, which causes flooding. Currently, KZN had some unseasonal snow, and now they're worried about it all melting and causing floods again. We are struggling from that perspective, and we need to invest into becoming more resilient on that side, which of course deals with infrastructure that helps with diverting flooding, for example, but also nature-based solutions as well. And then on the same side, we need to make sure that we secure our water sources and use them more efficiently. And not just as us as citizens, but also as industries, companies. Everybody needs to make sure that they secure their water supply and use it in a way that makes it keeps it available also for other users. So we're facing multiple issues in that we also have a very dilapidated old infrastructure that was neglected. The same way that we had that with our energy infrastructure. The same we are facing now with water. Experts have been warning for a very long time that if we do not address our water infrastructure, we will be facing a significant collapse in our infrastructure and have a huge problem in providing water and sanitation services to people as well as the economy. And this is currently, if you want to put it in quite drastic words, that is currently what is happening. And I think our country is waking up to the fact that we can still turn things around, but we really need to do so with a great sense of urgency and a focus and trying to eliminate corruption and really focus on rehabilitating our infrastructure. You can see a couple of headlines here that speak to that. On the one side, the things that are a little bit scary, like collapsing dams. But at the same time, we can also see that, for example, Cape Town is investing 5 billion rand in water and sanitation infrastructure currently. We have a mine, Harmony, refurbishing 3 municipal wastewater treatment plants. So you can see private sector involvement in trying to fix the infrastructure. We have debt issues that filter down from national government, the DWS, the Department of Water and Sanitation, which owns all our dams and manages the water resources on national level. They are owed money. Then the water boards are owed money, and then the municipalities are the ones that owe the water boards money, but the municipalities are also owed money by industrial users and residents that enjoy this, that get the services of water. So we've got big problems, as you can see, but I always say where there are problems, there's opportunity. You can see Rand Water is preparing for final phase of maintenance. That was in July. There's been intense maintenance preparations going on in Johannesburg, which has led to quite some upset because water gets shut down, and in some areas that went on for 3 weeks, which is obviously not an easy situation for anybody and quite frustrating. How do we use water resources in South Africa? We use mostly surface water, which is completely different to Germany, where we use in Germany a lot of groundwater is used, as you all will know. Surface water is our most important water source currently. You can see at the moment it makes up 77% of the water used. Next in line is desalination. Then we have groundwater. So desalination is the very dark blue. Then groundwater is the gray. And after that, we have return flows, which is agricultural return flows. And then we have acid mine drainage, which is still very much underutilized. You can see how the proportions change, but not change that dramatically over the next 15 years now. By 2040, we believe that we will be using a slightly larger proportion of groundwater, a larger proportion of desalination, and a little bit more of acid mine drainage and some return flows. So the overall pattern is not going to change dramatically. So when we see, the Holy Grail lies in desalination or the Holy Grail lies in something else, it usually isn't. We're looking at a mix of total supply, a mix that contributes to the total supply, and we need to work on all fronts to make that water available. I should here mention also that in South Africa, we have nearly really exploited all of our surface waters already. Any dams that are being built right now needed extra money and are quite expensive then per cubic meter, but I will get to that in a moment. With regards to what's available in customers for German water supply companies, water components or plant engineers as well, your technologies can be used in public water supply and sanitation. There's a lot of potential there. Can be used in mining and mineral processing, in manufacturing and processing industries. We have a very diverse industry in South Africa. And we often forget this, but we also have a very fast-growing commercial sector in South Africa. That is shopping centers, private hospitals, business parks, and settlements. We also have agriculture, of course. We already have quite a lot of irrigated agriculture in South Africa. So I might argue that this is maybe a bit more of a focus in the neighboring countries, but today we are focusing on South Africa. You can see here that on the left side in the graph that our main water user is the agricultural sector. That is very similar to most countries. After that, we have the municipal in orange, municipal, which also includes industries who draw water from municipal suppliers. And we have mining and bulk industrial with 6%. And after that, these tiny ones, strategic power generation in yellow, afforestation in light blue, and international obligations in dark blue. We have some ongoing unplanned projects, obviously, because it is a big country, there's a lot going on. So I just want to highlight a couple of things. With regards to earlier, I said Rand Water is maintaining currently the infrastructure. They've embarked on one of their largest infrastructure maintenance and augmentation efforts. And over the next 5 years, in July 2024, Rand Water said that they will be investing 1.8 billion euros into maintenance and augmentation projects. You may click on the source when you get the presentation so you can read the articles where I got this information from. We also have in Eastern Cape, and I just mentioned this, that we have exploited most of our water supplies, surface water supplies, the Ntabelanga Dam. It's a 406 million euro project. And in fact, this has been a very difficult one to negotiate because the dam was so expensive to build that there had to be public funding that needed to go in there so that an offtake agreement could actually be signed with the municipalities, because they said it was so expensive per cubic meter that they couldn't enter into an offtake agreement because it would have been not possible to get that money from their users within their municipalities. So it's been a bit of a challenge with that dam, but it seems that that is moving forward. We have the planned investment of 1.5 billion euro in the Umgeni water supply, which will be increased, almost doubled, in fact, from nearly 400 to 608. So maybe not quite doubled, but close. It's a very high dam wall, 5.6 kilometer long pipeline and a diameter of 2.6 meters, the pipeline. Cape Town is really interesting at the moment. You should have a look at this. They are planning, they have a 10-year plan where they are investing 6 billion between 2023 and 2026. I think the 2 billion, sorry, that should not be German, is more than Johannesburg and Durban combined over the next couple of years. Oh, my apologies. The 10-year plan is 6 billion. And between 2023 and 2026, it is 2 billion euros. And that is more than Johannesburg and Durban combined, what Cape Town is investing. What is interesting is by 2040, it is expected that the city of Cape Town will use about 25% of the water supply will be comprised of desalination, water reuse, and groundwater. And this is also part of the investments that are happening currently. Generally, the public sector, enormous investment opportunities and needs, especially in the area of public water supply and wastewater disposal. We've got corruption issues. We've got the challenge of BBBEE. You can read an article there. That means that this is redressing the past imbalances of economic participation of people of color in South Africa. So that can be a bit of a challenge, especially for German companies as well. But there is always a way to make this work for you, I believe strongly. There are financial constraints. There are opportunities for new infrastructure maintenance and increased efficiency. There are market opportunities. They really do depend in South Africa on the region. So country, province, municipality, and that is due to the available financial resources for projects, especially now I'm talking about the public sector, and skills and capacities. Municipalities have large water supplies. Municipalities and large water suppliers, are really ready to engage with innovative technologies. I've seen it again and again, and I think PPU and PPU Umwelttechnik and Vision Green Solutions, who will be talking just now, will be demonstrating this as well. And there are currently significant changes to the institutional framework that have been initiated, and we are expecting this to be triggering an increase in water supply project volumes from 500 million euros to about 1.5 billion euros per year, because we are now changing the structure such that finances will actually be available for these projects, because that has been one of our biggest hurdles. Industrial, you will be wondering, some of you, is quite a different market, so that's why we need to separate them. South Africa, I always they are very much pioneering the application of environmental technologies, generally in Africa, but that is not to say that there is no demand in the neighboring countries. There certainly is, and there's also a willingness to implement. There's a strengthening environmental awareness in society and in companies, especially the very large companies. Our laws and regulations that favor the implementation of measures are definitely becoming tougher, and we are having rising costs for energy, rising costs for water supply, rising costs for disposing of wastewater, and this is making measures increasingly attractive. But you can see on the right, there's a little bubble graph that I like to show. It's a very qualitative description of what is happening, what I believe are the sort of driving factors for industrial water use. The dark blue is what I believe is currently happening, and the light blue is where I see the potential push factor to go. And I truly believe that the environmental factor, so availability of water, is going to be the biggest, the most important factor that's going to drive the adoption of environmental technologies. Furthermore, the importance of operator models, so BOOT, is increasing, and companies who are plant engineers and who build plants should definitely keep that in mind. In South Africa, what kind of partners do we have available? We have actually everything, really. I'm always quite proud to say that. We have engineering offices, we have consulting engineers, we have a consulting engineers association, they're called CESA. They have a very large database of engineering companies that offer all sorts of expertise. In fact, one of the newspaper articles that I saw this morning was on that we have 5,000 engineers available that can assist the Department of Water and Sanitation in monitoring dam safety, which has been a bit of an issue recently because we've had a couple of dams collapse. and we are just not using them. So we do have engineering capacity. Some of the bigger names that work together with municipalities are Biggin, Gib, Mariesware, IX Engineers, Zutari, JG Africa. These are all very important companies that you need to meet if you want to do business in the public sector, especially Skip is an interesting one, also for industry, but also public. So there are lots of engineering companies that have worked there for long, that have local knowledge, that need to see, especially if you're component manufacturer, they need to see your technology so that they can include the specifications for your technologies in the proposals that they put together, or in the consulting services that they offer to the public sector or to bigger industries as well. We've got distributors, just some names: SA Leak Detection, Central Technical Supplies, Europumps, Eurodrain. Lots of companies that are currently also already working together with German companies who represent them or who sell their products. We have plant engineers, very, very good plant engineers in South Africa, who cover different kinds of sectors. We have names such as Talbot, Memcon, Veolia is also there, which is the French company. UDEC doesn't mean that French companies can't be clients for German component suppliers. UDEC, Water and Wastewater Africa, Proxa Water. So why do we need local partners on site? I think PPU Umwelttechnik will be talking about that in more detail, because that was their strategy and they have been very successful with it. Local partners know the market and they have contact. Their network development, so for example, if you've got a local partner, even if it's not a subsidiary of yours, they can participate in our events or in our delegations representing you, which means that you can save travel costs if you can't come yourself. That is possible. You need sometimes even regional or sector-specific partners. So, for example, some partners will only be active in, or will be predominantly active in Western Cape and know all the municipalities in the Western Cape, and you need to work with them to get into to get into that sector. And in Gauteng, you need somebody else. So it's really important, even regionally, you might need partners to help you into the market. And establishing and maintaining customer contact is extremely difficult to just do from Germany. So you need somebody here, whether it's a subsidiary and you've sent someone here, which is Vision Green Solutions. You will hear more about that, how they made it work for them. Yeah, but overall, as the AHK, as the SAGCC here in Southern Africa, we conclude that local partners are essential, and we are here. You can use our network. You can use us through private services. You can use us through public projects. And I hope you know that now, and we can assist you in entering or expanding your market. Right. I think that was a long talk. Are there any questions that you may have? I don't see any questions in the Q&A. Somebody unfortunately said that they had to leave, but they're looking forward to the next event. Thank you for that comment. Perhaps you can raise your hand. We are quite a small group, so if you would like to ask a question, you can raise your hand as well, and then I'll enable your mic. Matthias. Okay, hopefully
hello.
I have. Hello. Yes.
Hello, this is Matthias Voss from the Bavarian Environmental Agency.
Yes.
I have a question. Why is the part of groundwater use for water supply is so small? So mainly you use surface water and water from mining, but do you have no sources for groundwater, which is available for public water supply?
It's a very good question. We just haven't done it, to be honest. We have groundwater. We have just not explored it in a strategic way. I think perhaps also one of the reasons might be is that we have a lot of legislation that governs the extraction of water. So we actually, as South Africa, we have very, very, very good environmental legislation, which sometimes can also be a bit of a challenge in exploring new resources. We are putting an effort into groundwater resources. It is a bit tricky in our coastal regions, specifically to use groundwater properly, because we are then worried about seawater ingress. So what we are looking at the moment is re-injecting treated water back into the aquifer so that we make it sustainable and that we ensure that the aquifer doesn't get contaminated. But we just haven't done it strategically. And I think sometimes we also have aquifers that are not technically renewable. So if you exploit them, then they will either refill too slowly or they won't refill at all. But we are definitely planning on doing that. But I think surface water will remain, as per the prediction, our main source of water.
Okay, thank you. Maybe this is one topic we should discuss in the future about.
Yes, absolutely. If there are no more questions, I would perhaps just hand over to the next one. And that would be now an account of a German company called Vision Green Solutions. Welcome, Dr. Matthias Albert. Thank you so much for being here today and for presenting. Vision Green Solution is also a member of ours in South Africa, so the South African subsidiary or it's the company, is it?
Yeah, the Vision Green South Africa. We are Vision Green Solutions South Africa as a company based in Cape Town. But sorry for interrupting.
No. The floor is yours.
Yes. Yeah. First of all, thank you for the invitation. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Matthias Albert. I'm the managing director of Vision Green Solutions. And as Vera mentioned, we are, of course, active in South Africa. That's the reason why we are here. And I would like to talk a little bit about what we're doing and why South Africa. And I also have one nice reference which I want to talk to you, or which I want to present to you in the municipal drinking water application. First of all, please allow me to have some slides about the technology to give you an idea what are we doing and where are the differences and why is it challenging for South Africa. We, as Vision Green Solutions, we are coming from the city of Augsburg in Bavaria, a nice small capital with over 800 years of history in water management. That's a World Heritage here in Augsburg, and our focus is dealing with water and revolutionizing water hygiene. Fun fact about Augsburg, we have more bridges than banners. So everybody who is interested in water, just come around and we will show you how water has been, or how water distribution also has been developed over the last 800 years. So coming back to South Africa, why are we here? What are we doing? So our vision is water hygiene. Next slide, please. And we have a technology which is suitable for multiple applications, which serves as a platform. So as you can see here in that circle, we are coming from incoming water, which might be incoming at an industrial site or also incoming into a distribution network, municipal applications. And then also process steps in industry, cooling water in industry. And on the last time of the circle, it's about the effluent. It's wastewater treatment, and it's also reuse of water. So scarcity of water, the aim of reusing water, of reducing the water footprint, that's a technology our platform can be used for. And our technology can also serve as, our technology can serve multiple applications at once. So we don't need one system for each of these applications. We can cover multiple applications with one. And the aim is to produce our solution, to produce that on site, on time, and on demand. So we enable our customers to be independent, to be self-sufficient. And that's a big advantage when going to rural areas like in South Africa. getting them more independent, getting them more safe in also logistics and supply issues. And we are handling, it's now here, a substance called hypochlorous acid, but don't be confused. It's not a strong acid. It's not, next one, please. It's not a acidic substance. It's a non-hazardous substance, which is the advantage for being used. You can put your fingers in that substance. It doesn't harm you, but it's a powerful disinfectant, and it's just produced by salt and water on site. So this gives us the opportunity of having a powerful tool for helping fighting waterborne germs, for obtaining and maintaining a good water quality. Next one, please. And that's the advantage is producing it on site, so directly at the customer. So we don't have any logistics. We don't have to travel around chemicals. We don't have to deal with logistics of hazardous substances. Everything is being made directly where it's needed, directly when it's needed. So that gives us also the opportunity to tackle with local conditions like load shedding, because that's an issue which is not known here in Europe. So when coming abroad, the important thing, like Vera said, is to get known to the local requirements, to get known to the local challenges. And load shedding is one of these, and therefore you have to take that into account when operating plants which are powered, especially in the water and wastewater section, because you cannot shut down a water treatment plant only because there is load shedding. You have to deal with it and find technologies which can cover this challenge. So we have a lot of benefits in our solution, and the interesting part between different markets when we're talking about Europe and, for example, South Africa, is that we have different purposes in different branches. For example, in Europe, handling chemicals in water treatment facilities is not a big issue, but we know from South Africa that trained personnel is scarce, and not always everybody on site is being able handling hazardous substances. Therefore, safety is one point which we can tackle differently in areas like South Africa and Germany. And also, one challenge we have faced with was that one site for a water treatment plant could not be operated during night due to security reasons. Therefore, having an online monitoring, transparency on the system, always being able to see what's going on, this is a very important part for that municipality. Therefore, different challenges, different branches, and also industries. In South Africa, they sometimes, or in several cases, they also have own wells and own water systems, and not everybody is connected to the municipal water supply, and therefore also the quality of incoming water is very different than in Germany, and therefore you have to have stable conditions, stable treatments, which is one additional challenge for that specific market. And yeah, the costs. Salt has the big advantage of not getting old, not losing any activity, because it was for millions of years in the soil and the mountains. Therefore, transporting soil and storing soil, transporting salt and storing salt is not an issue, and enables the customers of using cheap materials which don't decay, and you don't have a loss of active ingredients in that. And coming around to the next is, as I mentioned, next slide, please. We have a platform covering multiple applications, and regarding the different regions, for example, industry like food, beverage, farming, also agro-processing, there we have the approach of using our technology as a platform approach, substituting different chemicals, giving them the opportunity of being more independent, and having this collected to one platform. But on the other side, also municipal applications like water treatment, wastewater treatment, they don't have this platform approach. They have one single application which we scale in size. So that's the next one, being able to scale in size, because the water treatment section ranges from very small facilities up to very large one. If we talk about wastewater treatment plants with several megaliters a day, then your system has to be sized much bigger than just small rural water distribution systems. And long story short, I want to come to some references which we have in that area, just to give you an idea and a short intro what's going on. The first is in the Western Cape. It's a municipal drinking water application. There we are in the north of Cape Town. The customer is a small water facility from the, I think it's, no, sorry, I don't want to say anything else. Maybe Sebastian can help me which municipality it is. But they are pumping out the water from the well, treating it and supplying it to the in their network up to the tap. We have now accomplished the tendering process over that project, and that was a very long story. We started over 2 years ago with the first contact to that municipality. More than 100 contacts with emails, on-site visits and phone calls until we managed to implement the system on-site. And one key element also was doing a trial on-site. So we went there with a smaller system, did a trial on that plant to show the customer that it's working, because the concerns on innovative technology is always to be the first, always to be the first in the region, because we do have references here in Europe, but you have to start somewhere in the southern region. And then we started here with a trial, which was done by us, which was monitored also from different parameters of the water quality. And this helped us to pursue the customer that our technology is fulfilling his needs, is achieving the desired goals of having a good water quality, of having low costs, and the advantage of low operating effort, because we have the monitoring tool on that. And this helps us get to the tendering process, to apply for the tender. And 2 months ago, we implemented that system, and will use that as a reference for other municipalities as well. So that's the first spot in municipal drinking water applications in the Western Cape. And there will be in the next days a day, how to call it, Tag der offenen Tür. Sorry, I'm missing the English word. But I think we have a lot of German listeners here. So we use that for inviting other municipalities to have a look on the technology, to have a look that it's working, and use that for our sales activities. And this has been done by my colleagues down in Cape Town. So we have the Vision Green Solutions South Africa, which is based in Cape Town. They are doing the efforts. They have implemented the system down there, and they are in contact with the municipalities, because, as Vera mentioned, you need to be in the country. You need to have either a subsidiary or a local partner who is, first of all, familiar with the local challenges, and also has the network, like Vera said, not only for getting hardware, but also for getting services like water analysis and so on. So without a network, it's very hard to enter a market just from Bavaria to go there. So have a look on partners, have a look on locals, and get the information about local challenges, like, for example, load shedding, or also handling of hazardous chemicals and supply issues, because the water treatment section in South Africa is suffering from shortages of disinfectants. Chlorine gas is being very rarely distributed over the country, and a lot of municipalities are struggling to get even disinfectant. So it's not only a matter of financial costs to run that plant, it's also a matter of having the right tool. And with being self-sufficient by just using salt, that's an advantage, which gives us an USP, especially in the South African market, which is which cannot be used in Europe, for example, because chlorine gas is here available. Every chemicals are available. So shortage issues is one key point which also has to be taken into account. And the second reference I want to show you is just in the industry. So one is the municipal and one is the industrial application. It's a big fruit juice company in South Africa. So they are producing, I think, apple juice, different kind of fruit juices, and they are struggling with their water inlet. So they have an own well, but also connected to the local network, so to the municipal water supply. And the task is to maintain a good quality over the whole industrial process, because they are dealing with food and beverages. And when the water quality changes and they don't see it, they cannot monitor it, then that can influence the product. Therefore, they are, let's say, some kind of connected to water problems of the municipality and of their own well, and therefore keeping the water quality on a hygienic level for the production is one key element for them. And we can help them by ensuring that the water quality is very good over the whole system, and to measure that online, also on multiple spots in their distribution system, because it's a very, very big piping, very much water being pumped around. And the effort is also here. You can see on the picture, in the right picture, you can see our unit installed here. There we did the same. We just transferred our unit. We made a trial to show the customer that it's working. Advantage of the trial to show also to show on scientific values what's happening in the water, what we are doing. And then after having the trial, then the discussions with the customer about sizing the full scale system. And yeah, so point is, first, get in touch with the customer, talk about innovative strategies, talk about innovative solutions, and then you have to deliver first, and then make a reference out of that customer to roll it out. So long talking, sorry to overrun you by all this information, but I hope you have some ideas, and I'm open for any questions. Please feel free.
Thank you so much, Matthias. I think really, really interesting. Sorry, before if there is another question, I think what I couldn't help but notice was that both of your projects involve groundwater. So Mr. Vorst was wondering about groundwater. So I think what I perhaps failed to mention earlier was that we do a lot of decentralized groundwater extraction. So quite a few industries will rely on groundwater to, for example, supplement their water supply as well. And I'm not saying in your case, but in many cases, groundwater abstraction that's decentralized and on an individual household level, etc., is not being monitored correctly yet and comprehensively yet. So that's mainly on sort of like municipal individual household level. So that might also be skewing the data a little bit. So maybe we are using groundwater a little bit more than we think. But yeah, anyways, I just wanted to add that. Thank you so much for the presentation. Really great insights into how you can do it in South Africa. Really impressive what you have achieved in the last 2 years. Sebastian Wurz came to my office still during COVID for the first meeting with us and said that they were really fresh in South Africa, really keen to get going. And 2 years later, this is what you have. So really, I think you can really be proud of what you've achieved as a small company, and how you managed to navigate the market here, I think is a great demonstration of what's possible. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Yes.
Sorry, let me use that for just adding 2 words about South Africa is a very interesting market and very interesting people. They are keen on driving new technologies. They are interested and they like to push it forward. So very often we have some hands-on mentality where people not only hiding behind any legislation and it's not allowed and so on. So that's very for the European market, that's a different approach. Yes, there is legislation, and if you fulfill legislation in Europe, you can also fulfill legislation in South Africa. So Germany's legislation in water section, tough time. When you do that, South Africa will be as easy as well. But they have South Africa. Sometimes they know about the problems and they're interested in solving problems, and that also motivates us to do the task down there.
Thank you so much. I think there is actually a question. Mr. Amal, you can speak. I believe your microphone should be enabled.
Yeah, thanks so much. I guess Matthias was the first one, no? Correct? Matthias was?
I think his hand has still been up, right? Or do you have another question?
Matthias? No, okay.
Sorry, no, I don't know how to put back this hand. I don't need it. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Matthias, it was a nice talk. Thanks so much. My name is Thomas. I'm affiliated to the Bavarian Research Alliance based here in Munich. And you were mentioning several times the need of having good contacts and good networks. And I would like to ask you if also in your position with regard to innovation and research, do you count also networks in the academic sector and the research sector as essential for overcoming potentially gaps in your innovation cycle?
You mean connections here in Bavaria, here in Europe, or you mean connections to local universities in South Africa?
To be honest, both sides, in Europe and also in South Africa. Thank you.
Yes. So Europe, yes, it's always a good challenge of driving new technologies, of developing technologies. So having connections to universities is nice to have, but not mandatory for running the business, because we're trying to have it a little bit further down the road, to have it as an implemented solution. In South Africa, we're in contact and discussions with water, what they call WISA, which is which they know the legislation, they know regulation issues. So it's more on implementing it, how to get to the market, with certifications you need, and so on. So that's 1 or 2 steps after having the connection with the university. We're not only on the developing, we're just on trying to implement a already produced and already established system in the market. Therefore, that's a minor part of our business.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to carry on now. I would like to introduce to you. Thank you very much, Matthias. I'm going to hand over to James. I'm sorry, James, you're running late. Thank you very much for being here. James Clark is the CEO and Head of Sales Business Development of PPU Umwelttechnik GmbH, and he will share with you today their strategies on how they managed to enter the market. The floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Vera, a quick question. Can I share my screen because I have a slightly updated presentation? If not, it's okay.
Absolutely. No, I'll stop sharing. Please go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, can everybody see this?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Guys, this will be a fast presentation because I have another appointment at the scheduled meeting end time. So I only have 10 minutes, I'm afraid. So quickly, just about PPU and ClearFox. So we're a wastewater treatment system manufacturer. We don't work in water, it's only wastewater. My name is James Clark. I'm the CEO of PPU Umwelttechnik GmbH. I'm actually Irish. I don't even speak German, so it's a bit unusual. And today I'm sitting in my home office in Ireland. Our company is PPU Umwelttechnik GmbH, but we sell most of our products under the ClearFox brand name. It's just a more recognizable name for our international business. We're an SME. We have about small, medium enterprise. We have about 40 staff, and we're based in Bavaria. And if you look at our average turnover in the last 5 years, it's about 12 million euros per year. But it fluctuates quite a bit because we do a lot of project work. So, you know, depending on when project payments come in, it has a big influence on our turnover. So what do? We're mainly focused on product and turnkey solutions, sales and leasing. So we manufacture wastewater treatment plants. We like to sell them, but increasingly in the last number of years, we're moving into a leasing business model. We work in municipal wastewater treatment and decentralized wastewater treatment, where we do everything from a 5-person or 5 PE system for a single house up to systems for 20,000 PE, where we're building a system at the moment for capacity expansion at an existing wastewater treatment plant in the Mediterranean region. So we have small package wastewater treatment systems, we rotationally mold tanks. We're very focused on containerized systems, but we also build equipment kits, which are a very cost-effective solution for implementing in local tanks. We also work in the industrial sector, and we cover project ranges from about 1 cubic meter per hour up to about 120 cubic meters per hour. And here we manufacture dissolved air flotation, biological treatment, clarifiers, so all of the usual suspects. And we work across a wide range of industries. We've done projects in the oil and gas sector with individual project sizes of, you know, over 15 million euros. But in addition to that, we do a lot of work in the food and beverage sector, pharmaceutical, agro and food processing, and so on. So just to quickly touch on our export markets and our strategy for sales. So we sell systems in many different markets, Europe, the US, Asia, Scandinavia, Africa, Latin America, the US. It varies year to year, of course, but between 65 and 85% of our turnover comes from orders outside of Germany. And the final destination for the equipment is out of Germany. So we really have a strong regional and sectoral diversification, and we like that. So if we have a downturn in one country or even a specific sector, it affects us less because we have such diversification. So we've sold a lot of systems into the African continent, South Africa, Mali, Nigeria, Egypt, Libya, Sierra Leone, the Ivory Coast, and so on. I won't read out the complete list. So what I would really say there is, I firmly believe there's a client in every country for you. You know, people have come to us when we say that we've done projects in Sierra Leone or Mali, and they're very surprised to hear this. They don't think customers exist in certain countries. but there's always a customer for you. You just need to be able to identify them. So our marketing strategy is multi-channel, online, trade fairs, cold acquisition, networking, the same as most of you here, but we'd have a very, very good return on investment with our marketing. 2023, 2000%. So just to put that in perspective, this means if you spend 100,000 euros on marketing, you get a 2 million euro return on investment, or orders valued at 2 million. And in 2024, it's drastically improved. So in our company, we're very, very good at sales and marketing. And our strategy for sales varies by location. But as mentioned, we're a small company. So we don't have the financial power to go into a new market and spend 1 million euros opening a branch office and hiring staff. So we would often focus on either our own sales staff working from our HQ in Bavaria, or alternatively, and especially in Africa, we would work with a lot of resellers. As everybody said, you have local knowledge and presence on the ground, which is really, really important. You know, and obviously the German Chamber has a presence in South Africa, and they provide really, really good services and supports. It can take a long time to find the right partner, and this is why you need good marketing and lead generation. So why South Africa? This is just my opinion, but for me, South Africa is a hub for the sub-Saharan African region. And I would always say it's very similar to the way the United Arab Emirates is a hub for the MENA region. And you've many companies that are servicing their neighbor countries from South Africa. And then specifically why we're interested in South Africa. Again, these have been touched on a little bit. You have water scarcity. You have not a great developed sewage infrastructure, which means there's a demand for decentralized wastewater treatment. It's a strong agro and food processing center, which is good if you work in the food and beverage sector, which we do. The language is good for me anyway, because it's English. It's an accessible market. I can travel there very easily. And I would say it's quite a stable country as well. Also good for us is there are wastewater regulations. Okay, sometimes they're not perfectly enforced, but they exist, and enforcement only gets stricter in countries. Also, there are competitors in South Africa, and I like to see this. If I see a market with no competitors, then I scratch my head and I have to wonder, is there really a market there? So just to explain our market entry strategy. So this is not we took a couple of attempts. So I'll just explain our first attempt, which can show you how not to do it. So it was in 2018, and there was a delegation visit with the German Water Partnership for German water companies. So I attended with a colleague from South Africa called Gunter, who still works with us. Gunter grew up in South Africa and Namibia, and then he moved to Germany in his late 20s. So we traveled there for about 7 days. We had a really intensive schedule of meetings with potential partners, and we'd organize a lot of our own private meetings as well outside of the main event. And our target was to find partners for our products and solutions. And was it a success? I would say yes and no. So we made great connections. The people were so open and interested in what we were offering. And after the visit, we got so many requests for quotations. But, you know, where we failed was we really didn't have boots on the ground or a local presence for follow-ups. And this generated, I would say, a lack of trust by many of the local companies who were interested in our solutions, because, you know, maybe we're offering a solution for 500,000 euros, but then we don't have any support network on the ground for service. So this is really, really important. Also, I would say that our target for the event was too broad. We came into the event at very short notice when another company dropped out, so that's our excuse. But we really hadn't defined our ideal customer profile or our ideal partner profile. So the second attempt, we made a good plan internally in our company. We did a competitor analysis to really understand what's being sold on the market, the USPs of our competitor products, price pointing. We looked at the potential for business, not just immediately, but into the future, to see if there was going to be a growing demand, because you don't want to enter a market that's going to have a declining demand for your product or service. We looked at the market drivers, which I've already touched on, regulations, water scarcity, and so on. we identified how we wanted to enter the market, which was with a good partner. And then I started a partner search and found someone reasonably quickly in the end of 2023. And this is a company called Wolfwasser, and we've really developed a very, very strong partnership and relationship. And just one thing I would point out, that our relationship is based totally on the service they receive from our company and from me personally. And it's less about the products and solutions, you know, so you can have the best product, the best solution, but, you know, if you don't have a service or a relationship with a partner on the ground, if that's how you're operating, you just won't have success. And these are Eric's details. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about what Wolfwasser do, but they distribute our products. And if anybody has a problem with wastewater, then here is details. So the current status, so we've got a lot of orders in 2024 in South Africa, which is great. Our normal sales cycle duration is in the region of 6 to 12 months. We've also received orders in neighboring countries. Another order only 4 weeks ago for the Seychelles. And we've got a really, really good pipeline of potential projects. So for the last quarter of this year, and for 2025, you know, we're really going to have great success. And a lot of this was helped by the German Chamber and by Vera. You know, some of the events that they organized, in particular, an event for the agro and food processing sector, brought us in touch with companies that are very difficult to penetrate, really real market leaders in the agro and food sector, that allowed us and Eric to develop really good relationships. And have now ongoing discussions with a lot of them, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to get a project from attending that German Chamber event. So our future plans are just to keep securing more references, because this is very important to show that you're present and that you have a service with happy customers, build on existing orders, and really stay engaged with Vera and the German Chamber to take advantage of any future opportunities that they can present to us. Quick summary: know the market, make sure there's a demand for what you want to sell, define your target audience, whether that's a customer or developing a partner, prepare a strategy, execute it, but also have realistic expectations and timeframes. You know, look at your sales cycle duration in other markets that you've entered, look at how long it's taken to get orders, look at the typical turnover you've received within the first year, and just keep your expectations realistic. That's it.
Sure. Thank you so much, James. Really, really appreciate you being here. And I would imagine that you have to leave quickly. We really were very happy to have you in our delegation, and we're very happy also to hear that it has helped you. But I'm sure, you know, these delegations are just the start. All the hard work comes afterwards. So well done to Eric for securing that pipeline and, you know, making use of the leads that they found, that you found in our delegation.
Yeah. If
Thank
anybody
you so
has
much.
a quick question, Vera,
Yes.
I'm happy just to stick around and answer it.
Oh,
But if
okay.
not, I will.
Alrighty. Any questions? No,
Okay,
I think
I'm off the hook. Okay, great.
you're off the hook.
Yep.
Thank you so much, James. Really
Okay, I'm sorry
appreciate
to
it.
leave everybody, and okay, thank you for your time.
I'm sorry we ran late.
No problem,
Yes,
Vera.
thank you for being there. All right.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Thank you, everyone. I think we are now at the end of our event, 3 minutes over. And yeah, I just want to find out, are there any further questions? But relatively quiet, and if not, perhaps I would hand over to Mr. Schmidt for some closing words, if I can put you on the spot, I think, to wrap it up from your side as well.
Well, thank you very much, Vera. I think we've learned, we've seen all the ingredients it takes to actually start a successful business. There are different approaches, and I mean, not surprisingly, the chamber plays quite a crucial role in all that. So that is why we've teamed up with you guys, and we've been doing so over the past couple of years. So it's for us, it's quite natural to build on that. What I've learned, what I've also learned is that that the two companies we've seen that they have come quite recently into the market, and it seems that timing is right. So the electricity sector hit the headlines started hitting the headlines a couple of years ago, but water is sort of the water issue and the water challenges. They've popped up quite recently. So I think we're in the game. There's a lot to be won, and I'm really looking forward to the next sessions, the expert discussions, and also, of course, to the IFAD fair. So I think there's a lot we can offer, and we do hope that others will join the bandwagon. So I'm quite optimistic. Thank you again for preparing all this. Thank you, Charlotte, who does all the work on the ground. For me, it's only to say hello to you, basically, but the groundwork is done certainly by Charlotte. So we are always accessible. So do actually come to the ministry. Do approach us as well. We have a very open door policy. So has the chamber. So I think it's all set. We are ready. We are on standby, and we are very much looking forward to pushing this further. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.